Well, hey everybody, I'm John Retlin, and this is a New Japan themed video. Every IWGP Intercontinental Champion ranked from worst to best. Since May 15, 2011, when the first champion was established, all the way to now, there's been some really good champions. 14 different men have held the title. There's been some shit, and don't worry, I'll get to that. But number one's very obvious. I don't think number one is going to come as a shock to anybody, especially if you've even just briefly studied the history of New Japan. But the Intercontinental Championship has been well established as being a premier championship. And sometimes maybe it hasn't been featured all the best, but there's been a lot of really good talents that have held it, including number one, again, that is really obvious. But want to make mention, more New Japan themed countdowns, ranking videos like this will be coming up in the coming weeks and months. Same with a couple ECW ranking videos, and then also a couple more Impact Wrestling related ones. So look out for that. But anyway, since we got 14 guys, we're going to have to start off with the worst, because you got to wade through the shit to get to the good. So number 14, speaking of shit, Michael Elgin, 1 reign, 98 days, 1 successful defense. Yes, I'm including the amount of successful or unsuccessful defenses that they've had, because New Japan puts that there to add legitimacy to their championships. Pretty goddamn smart. I actually think that's a good way to build character and to build legitimacy for the championships. So anyway, Michael Elgin. I'm not going to say that the guy doesn't have some skills in the ring, but the guy just creeps me out. He's very vanilla. I just do not like the guy. I do not find his matches interesting. There's been like maybe a couple where I popped a little bit for, but that's mainly because the opponent he's facing I find interesting. I just don't like Michael Elgin. I have my reasons. I think that's fair. If other people like him in the comments, that is totally fine, but it's just the reason he's the worst is he held that title for just over 3 months, and there are others on this list that are vastly more talented and better people than him that deserved the championship longer, and they didn't get it. And the fact that this scumbucket got the championship for 3 months is goddamn ridiculous. Still, he had 1 successful defense. That poor sap that had to put him over. I feel bad for anybody that ever has to put over Michael goddamn Elgin. So, let's get more positive. Number 13, Bad Luck Fale. 1 reign, 92 days, 0 successful defenses. Bad Luck Fale is better in tag teams. I've seen some of his older stuff, like, when he, before, like, he really started to get broken down. He wasn't a bad heel, but he can never work really long matches. And getting a tag team championship or getting the never openweight 6-man championships where he could be in tag teams and hit his spots, but not be in the ring long is perfect. Him being a singles champion just didn't necessarily work. But Fale, at least, you could sort of believe as a champion, at least for the short term, and then somebody could beat him, and they could, they beat the big monster and everything. And hey, at least he ain't a bad guy like Michael Elgin, so there we go. We go to number 12, Jay White, 1 reign, and he just won it at Destruction in Kobe, just a few days before I record this. Honestly, I think Jay White has brought some legitimacy back to the Intercontinental Championship. Not that, Kota Ibushi and Naito didn't before, but I think it's nice to put it on a heel that actually can put on some good matches. People can have their different opinions on Jay White. I think the New Japan is trying to maybe force the push a little too much, even though he is good, and even though he has great character work. But him with this championship, it's good. They can build some good feuds. He can hold on to it, maybe just till Wrestle Kingdom, maybe a little bit longer. Who the fuck knows? I think that he's going to be a great champion. He's, of course, hasn't had any successful defenses yet because he just won the goddamn thing. But I'm ranking him up here because it already feels like an important title on him. All due respect to Naito and Ibushi, who made it feel important, but I'm just saying for the first time on a heel in a while, in like a year, and I'm going to get to that guy, don't worry, he makes the championship feel important. Number 11, La Sombra. La Sombra. You know who La Sombra is. 1 reign, 50 days, 1 successful defense. It's Andrade. It's Andrade. That's who it is, by the way, in case you don't know. La Sombra, great. He was great before he got to WWE. I mean, he had a freaking great career before that anyway, so let's not ignore that. And his work in New Japan is pretty goddamn good. I mean, 50 days didn't last very long, but hey, he got to defend it successfully once, so at least there's that. Better than a couple others that I mentioned before. And as far as skills in the ring, the guy's just top notch. Number 10, I wanted to rank this guy lower because of how bad the reign was, but Chris Jericho, 1 reign, 209 days, 1 successful defense. Look, I get that they didn't want to use Jericho that often. They wanted to use him as an attraction, but his match with Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12 was good. I enjoyed it. And then he He attacked Tetsuya Naito at New Japan Dash, or New Year's Dash, the next night, and then he disappeared for a while, and then he faced off against Naito. After beating him up like a bit before Dominion, he faced off against him at Dominion and beat him for the title, and then didn't defend the goddamn thing until Power Struggle against Evil. I get it. I get that they wanted to use him as an attraction, but to me, it just made the champion. I forgot that the championship goddamn existed. After Suzuki had it, beaten Tanahashi for it at New Beginning in Sapporo, and then lost it to Naito at Hinokuni, then Naito loses it suddenly like a bit after to Jericho, and then Jericho just disappears with it. To me, it just wasn't good. I mean, 209 goddamn days. That's about 200 days too long. He should have held it maybe until the finals of the G1 and then lost it there and then just disappeared. And then maybe had a match with Naito again or something like that. Naito could have been champion, because I don't think Naito winning at a Wrestle Kingdom really mattered. I mean, not that Naito didn't deserve it. And I love Naito. Do not get me wrong, but Jericho's reign did not benefit anyway. It didn't. It didn't make me want to see Jericho get beat anymore. It's just like, oh, thank fucking Christ they got the title off of him. And I'm a fan of Jericho. I think that Jericho personally is a little bit washed up at this point, and I'm sticking to that. But that reign was shit. It was complete shit. It seemed like a good idea in theory, but whoever came up with that idea, it was fucking awful. It really was. It's taken this long to kind of wash the stain of Chris Jericho having the title off of it. That's a shame. But then we get to number 9, Kota Ibushi, 1 reign, 64 days, 1 successful defense. Yeah, Ibushi having that successful defense, it was notable. Wayne at G1 Supercard, then he dropped it, of course, back to Naito at Dominion in June, which surprised me a little bit, though it made sense in the end when Ibushi won the G1, which was absolutely goddamn great. But 64 days, I was a bit shocked, and then, of course, he took that freaking German suplex, on the apron. The hardest part of it, Kota, why do you hate your neck? Not that Kota Ibushi's going to watch this, but why does Kota hate his neck? Please let me know in the comments. Kota Ibushi as a champion, that was great. That was good stuff. Him beating Naito was fabulous and a great moment in Madison Square Garden. It just didn't last very long. Number 8, Minoru Suzuki, 1 reign, 92 days, 1 successful defense. Minoru Suzuki scares me. He scares the piss out of me. He haunts everybody that has ever come in contact. Actually, I've heard that Minoru Suzuki is one of the nicest goddamn people outside of a wrestling ring. But by God, when that light goes on, when he goes out there and wants to entertain, the young lions have to run, his opponents have to run, the people in the crowd have to run, because Suzuki will throw everything down, break everything, but then he'll clean up because he's an environmentalist. He's just that great. He cares about the environment while beating the shit out of people. He is an enigma. He is odd. He is also scary. But apparently people who have met him are really, really, say he's really, really nice. His 1 reign as champion, I love the match he had against Tanahashi at New Beginning in Sapporo, where he just wrenched on the knee and there was a stoppage, and Suzuki was champion. That was good stuff. And then he lost it to Naito against Naito at Hinokuni, as I mentioned before, and that was like, holy crap. Ever since then, he hasn't really done much championship-wise, which is a shame. It really is a shame. I mean, I think maybe he's kind of settled into his role where he's not getting a title, though I would like to see him get one run with the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Give him a run before he retires. Please, give him a run before he retires, but who knows? I doubt it'll happen, but Suzuki scared me. I like Suzuki, but I'm ranking him about middle here because, just below the middle, because he only held it for 3 months. Still, he made that title legit because he's fucking legit. And then we go to number 7, Masato Tanaka. 1 reign, 125 days, 3 successful defenses. Masato Tanaka, who feuded with Mike Awesome in FMW and ECW, wrestled various other times, wrestled in New Japan, wrestled in other Japanese wrestling promotions. Guy's a goddamn legend. Head as hard as a goddamn cinder block. And yeah, you want to talk about somebody that would add legitimacy to a championship. Masato Tanaka had a legacy at this point and really did make that championship mean something. Even though he hasn't been in New Japan for a while, as far as I know, or at least past few years, that guy, fucking legend. Of course, he deserved a higher ranking like this, or at least, even for just 1 reign, he deserves a ranking here. We get to number 2, Kenny Omega, 1 reign, 126 days, 1 successful defense. I'm ranking Omega up here because Omega, and this is going to get me hate, Omega was better chasing the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Once he won it, Bloom was off the goddamn rose. And the matches that followed, even though he could deliver great performances, the championship matches weren't all that good. The best one he had was against Ishii. Well, the one against Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 13 was fine, but Kenny Omega was a great Intercontinental champion as well. And then he was a U.S. champion. I'm not going to do one ranking the U.S. champions because A, the championship was just established 2 years ago, and it's Omega, Jay White, Juice Robinson, and then, Cody, and then, Juice, and then Mox. So, I mean, it's just, ranking 5 different guys, there's no point. The list would be like 5 minutes. Plus Cody would be the worst one, sorry. But anyway, it was what it was. Kenny Omega, I really did enjoy him as, as near the main event or at the main event, but once he won the IWGP championship, it was over. He was a good Intercontinental champion, though. He really could deliver some great performances, and he was a great U.S. champion, the first ever U.S. champion in New Japan. Now we move on to number 5, MVP, 1 reign, 148 days, 2 successful defenses, first ever IWGP Intercontinental champion. Love MVP. He's able to go to Japan after leaving WWE and pursue his dream. Do some good shit there. Get a chance. Go on the New Japan archives. Check out MVP in New Japan Ring. Really, really cool to see and eye-opening performances from him. Really good stuff. I really enjoyed it. And I think that a lot of people really need to give it a watch. Some people may have just thought he fell off the map. Nope, that wasn't the case. Or that he fell off the map for a few years and then popped up in Impact. No, he did some good shit in Japan. Number 4, Hiroki Goto, 2 reigns, 308 days, 3 successful defenses. Next to Tomohiro Ishii, Goto may be the one that I always can count on to deliver a great match that is never going to hold a championship too long. Even though I'm going to mention him on another list that he held a championship for quite a bit. Goto, I love Hiroki Goto. I can understand why he's maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but he's legit. He can always deliver quality to great matches in the G1, and great matches no matter what championship he had or what championship he was going for. Had a great match against Jay White in the G1, which was absolutely incredible. And just 308 days. I mean, 3 successful defenses. Goto is legit. That's all I gotta say. Number 3, Hiroshi Tanahashi, 2 reigns, 322 days, 5 successful defenses. Tanahashi is the ace of New Japan. I fear that his knees are going to freaking fall off and he will still try to wrestle. But the guy carried New Japan on his back. Not that other people didn't work really hard, but he was the ace, the X factor, the ace factor, if you will, that they built their promotion around. And we're like, we can rely on this guy. And he fought through injuries and he fought through everything. And he earned his championship runs, especially his last run with the IWGP Intercontinental Championship that ended, at New Beginnings Sapporo last year against Minoru Suzuki. He always could do such great things in the ring, and even at this advanced stage of his career, where sometimes his matches are a bit hard to watch, and not wash, you don't try to wash a match. He can always do great things still. You can still see that the spirit is willing, the body may be weak, but he has varied up his offense, and his series of matches with Zack Sabre Jr. is proof of that. But his time at the Intercontinental Championship, absolutely great. Tetsuya Naito, 4 reigns, 497 days, 5 successful defenses. Yep, Naito at number 2. I mean, come on, what the fuck else was I going to do? I mean, who's going to be number 1? It's pretty obvious, but Naito, his runs with the title, great. Even in just the time I've been watching New Japan Live in 2018, he has made that Intercontinental Championship. Even though he doesn't seem like he really cares about the Intercontinental Championship, you can tell he does because he wants to be a double champion. Tetsuya Naito is he's great. He's a great heel, babyface, whatever. It doesn't really fucking matter. He is an absolute phenomenon. He is an absolutely incredible wrestler, and he is somebody that persona, everything, he is really goddamn good. I absolutely love Tetsuya Naito. He is fantastic. But number one, Shinsuke Nakamura, 5 reigns, 901 days, 17 successful defenses. Who the fuck else was it going to be? Shinsuke Nakamura. It had to be Shinsuke Nakamura. You know why it had to be Shinsuke Nakamura? Because Shinsuke Nakamura is goddamn incredible. And yes, okay, you could say in WWE he's taken it easy or this kind of stuff, or he's seen as a paid vacation and he's kind of slacked a bit and stuff like that. He beat his body to shit in New Japan. And I mean, I won't argue that some of his matches have been not necessarily lazy, but a little bit phoned in. But by God, Shinsuke Nakamura, 901 days, 17 successful defenses, 5 reigns. What the fuck else am I going to say? Shinsuke Nakamura, greatest IWGP Intercontinental Champion of all time. My personal opinion, of course, but let me know in the comments what you guys have to say. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. And I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.